A judge has ruled that the First Church of Cannabis cannot use weed as their religious sacrament. Well, that's the whole point of the Church of Cannabis, is to use weed. Hello, you're gonna smoke weed. It's the Church of Weed. Duh. You should let him smoke the weed. What's with this judge? Let him smoke the weed. Who cares? Everyone's so concerned what other people are putting in their face. Jeez. You know what? You know what people that smoke weed do? They don't microwave microwaves, okay? That's what drunk people do, and people in Florida. This is in Indianapolis, Indiana. The mission of Indiana's First Church of Cannabis was to get the state to recognize a religious exemption to the state's marijuana laws, and it appears to have all gone up in smoke. Oh, the puns. So good. At least for now, they're shutting this down, because Marion County Superior Court Judge Cheryl Lynch ruled that the church could not smoke marijuana as a religious sacrament. The church's officials filed a lawsuit against the state just days after being a recognized church in the state, saying that Indiana's Religious Freedom Restoration Act should allow for a religious exemption from state and federal laws related to marijuana. The RFRA is intended to protect individuals from government infringement on the practice of religion or religious sacraments unless the government can demonstrate a compelling reason for doing so. So in the judge's opinion, she wrote that such an exemption would make it difficult for authorities to enforce existing drug laws because officers are not trained or equipped to determine the sincerity of an individual's religious beliefs. Weird. Okay. Well, this is a big issue, but I don't think the church needs to worry about it, although the founder of the First Church of Cannabis says that he will be appealing the judge's ruling, of course. But, pretty soon this is going to be recreationally legal in all 50 states. I mean, it's just going to happen. You can see it moving that place. So eventually it'll hit Indiana as well. And the church won't have to do this. They won't have to fight the government for the religious sacrament. And now let's be real. We know that but we know that there's instances where religious institutions, they create their organization because they want it to be exempt from federal and state laws such as this. So an example that comes to mind is there's two churches in New Mexico. The Santo Daime is one of them, and I can't remember the other one. There may be more now, but they're a registered organization, an authentic church, per se church, recognized by the state and federal government, that use ayahuasca as a religious sacrament in their ceremony. Now, ayahuasca is a DMT-containing alkaloid, very strong hallucinogenic beverage, and which is normally illegal because it contains an illegal. DMT is an illegal molecule. Although we are all walking around with DMT in our brains, so I guess we could all be arrested at the drop of a hat for containing drugs in our brains. So, anyways, the DMT beverage ayahuasca is not legal, but these churches in New Mexico are using it, and they have clearance because they're using it as a religious sacrament. Now, we all know what's going on here. People want to use this beverage. They want access to this experience in a place, the U.S., where it's not legal. So they create the church to get around that, to circumvent the laws. That's what's going on here. Obviously, the Church of Cannabis is trying to do this too, okay? We could all, it's couched in, religious terminology, and it's after blah, blah, blah. But we know what's going on. You want to be able to use, okay. Whether or not you even use it in a ceremony is beside the point. We know what you're doing, okay? It's like a wink-wink situation. And I'm not saying that's, and I'm not against that either. Do it any way you can to, sort of practice what should be a primary right as part of your liberty and pursuit of happiness. Anyways, should be allowed. The government, in other words, the government shouldn't tell you that you can or cannot smoke cannabis. I mean, that's whatever you want to do with your own mind in the privacy of your own home. As far as substances goes, in my opinion, you should be allowed, as long as you're not infringing this on somebody else's world and life that doesn't want it, or you're not hurting anybody. If you want to do these things, you should be allowed to do these things. I don't even know why I'm ranting about that part of it. How did I get onto that? Oh, I was saying that these people are creating these situations where they can do that by calling it a church. And the other reason why I'm not against that is because there's some ridiculous shit in your classical Christianity anyways. I mean, you gotta basically it's a temple of people talking about fantasies. I mean, let's be real. When we really dive into some of these religions, it's like, oh yeah, he talked to a burning bush, he rose from the dead, and he walked on water. Okay, I mean, that's like, that's some crazy shit. Okay, so what's wrong with some cannabis then, in the light of that? All right? Oh, you want to smoke a little weed? Yeah, it's all right. The guys down the street are talking about a dude who came back from the dead. So like, hey, 6 of one, half dozen of the other, right? As far as churches goes, they're all squirrely, like weird places, in my opinion. These institutions are just like, hey, so let them do what they want. What the hell? But anyways, they don't have a reason to worry this one in Indiana, because pretty soon it'll be recreationally legal there as well, I think, and they won't have to go and file paperwork anymore to like smoke their weed. They'll be able to do so in the privacy of their own home, like a mature adult. If you decide to do that if you decide as an adult to smoke pot, why can't you smoke pot? You should be allowed to do that. But I don't know, maybe you guys have a different opinion of that. But I have a feeling that a lot of my weirdos, the majority of my weirdos, are pro pot and pro freedom of smoking cannabis, if that's what you decide with your own life. But hey, maybe you're not. Call into Weird AF News either way and weigh in on this. My number is 646-450-2012. You can email me, funnyjones@gmail.com, or you can DM me at funnyjones on Twitter and Instagram, or comedian Jonesy on Facebook. And yes,